There we go. All right. So, the Buffalo Bills had to go across the country and play against the Los Angeles Rams on Sunday. And the offense made the trip. Josh Allen made the trip. The defense, they didn't seem to be there. And the special teams didn't seem to be there. Hello, Mr. Milky. It was a close game, ended up being a 2-point loss for the Bills. But here are my thoughts. First, let's go right to the end of the game because there's several questions coming out of the end of the game. So when the Bills were on short yardage, they made it down to the 1 after a pass interference penalty in the end zone. They were at the 1-yard line. And I don't know exactly how much time there was left. There was over a minute, right? So the tush push has been working for the Bills, where they put the running backs behind Josh Allen like the Eagles do and push him forward. And Josh has so much strength that he usually gains 1 yard. I think this play has actually been 95% potent this year, and in this game, he came up just a little short. And I think I know why. They didn't do it with the running backs. They sent Davidson, who's off the practice squad, not usually on the roster for games, but because Kincaid's hurt, they had to bring in Davidson. And they send him in motion, and when he gets behind Josh, he tries to push him. He's not very good at it, what it looked like from there. James Cook was in the game. He's a running back. He's done it before. He's not as good at it as Ty Johnson or Reggie Gilliam. Those guys are the best tush pushers, I guess we have. And, I think that's why they did it. The last time the Bills tried to go in motion with a tush push was in Minnesota, way back to the Vikings game where they were trying to get out of the end zone, and they sent Gabe Davis in motion, and he tush pushed. And that play didn't work out well either. They fumbled the snap, and the Vikings recovered in the end zone for a touchdown for the other team. So, as you remember, that didn't go well either. So, I don't know why they changed the way they were doing it. At a crucial point in the game, why would you send somebody in motion? In my opinion, and I know this is debatable, but when you send someone in motion, the defensive tackles get a sort of a key on when the snap is going to happen. Because when he gets behind Josh Allen to push him, they know that's when the snap's going to happen. So they get a little tiny bit of a jump. And when you're talking about inches from the end zone, that little tiny bit of a jump can make a big difference. It can make all the difference. So I really do not like the fact that they sent tight end in motion to do that. Somehow they should have sent, it was after a penalty, so they could have come back out with okay, so they could have come back out with the running backs. And that's what they did on the very next play. When he didn't make it, they called timeout, and that timeout pretty much ended the game. Because once you kick it off to the Rams, they're just going to take a knee and run that whole clock out, and the game's over. You need those timeouts to stop the clock from ticking. So that timeout pretty much ended it. As much as I hate Tom Brady or dislike Tom Brady, he was right about that point in the game. And as he was doing the broadcast. So after the timeout, then they bring in 3 running backs, and Reggie Gilliam gets right behind Josh and pushes him in. So maybe do that the play before if you're going to do tush push. I know a lot of people wanted him to throw a pass. He's at the 1-yard line. I don't like throwing passes from the 1 yard line because I remember the Patriots intercepting the Seahawks at the 1 yard line. And, if an interception would have happened, everybody would have been mad and said, why didn't he do the tush push? So, I'm not upset about calling the tush push play. I do not like that how they ran it. Now, later on, they do get the Rams to punt. They used all 3 of their downs, and if they had a timeout, there would have been significant time left, over 40 seconds. But the Rams punt, and with 7 seconds left. So by the time the ball goes up in the air and lands, when it touches the ground is when the game is over, or when the clock stops. So it took 7 seconds, almost exactly 7 seconds, as it landed in the end zone. First of all, if Codrington's back there, he needs to catch the punt and at least give us a chance, because watching the clock run out, just like white flag, game over, right? However, what should have been called was a punt block. And I believe they should have brought their gunners in from the outside and tried to block it even, because if the punter decides to throw a pass, who knows how good he is at throwing a pass. But getting a punt block is pretty low percentage anyway. So bring in the gunners and try to block the punt. Just go all out for the punt block. And if they complete a catch and end the game, it is what it is. You're letting them punt. But the biggest problem on that play, the biggest problem, and the one that should make every Buffalo Bills fan mad, is there were only 9, not 11, 9 players on the field for the Bills. I wouldn't even have had Codrington back there. I would have gone complete punt block. Everybody go for it. But you can't block a punt if you only have 9 guys on the field and you're missing 2 of your players. How many special teams mistakes have been made on... No, they didn't lose the game on a punt. That's not what I'm saying. I'll get to that in a second. But how many games is the special teams going to make mistakes? 13 seconds. They don't tell Tyler Bass to kick it deep, or to kick a squib, so he just kicks it deep. You got to tell your kicker. If the whole rest of the team knows you're kicking a squib, it might be nice to tell the kicker, the guy that's kicking the ball. Denver Broncos last year, they miss a field goal. Somehow we pull out a victory. But wait, we have too many players on the field. We have 12 guys on the field, so they get to kick again and beat us. Now this, which in the grand scheme of things, it was not the cause of the loss, but it's just the cause of why are we making so many special teams mistakes? In the late 80s and 90s, special teams helped the Buffalo Bills win football games. Now it's hurting the Buffalo Bills and helping them lose football games. And I can only point to one person on that, and that's the special teams coach. I've made videos on here before that I like Coach Smiley because in training camp, he works his butt off. He is everywhere, running all over the place. This year, I was hoping maybe they would cut back some of his responsibilities so he could concentrate on the special teams and not have mistakes like that happen. You know what? I worked in semi-pro football. We never had 9 guys on the field for a punt. How can it happen in the NFL? So the media asked Coach McDermott, our head coach, about this after the game and why he said he has faith in Coach Smiley. And one of the reporters asked him, why do you still have faith? Can you tell us? And he said, because it means a lot to him. That was what he led with. Well, I'm going to tell you what, it means a lot to me too. It means a lot to everybody in the Bills Mafia. And if the only reason that we're keeping a coach is because of his likeness for being a coach, that it means a lot to him, there's a lot of people in the Mafia that should come over and be the coach of the team. That's just silly. Because Russell Wilson was right a few weeks ago when he said it's easy from the couch to be eating potato chips and watching the game to ridicule. But all right, enough about that. Why did the Bills lose? Well, it certainly wasn't because of Josh Allen. Josh Allen, first quarterback in history to throw for a whole bunch of yards, get 3 rushing touchdowns and 3 passing touchdowns and lose. That doesn't happen. I mean, how do the Bills put up so many points and they lose? Another star of the game on the offense, Khalil Shakir. Sorry, it's hard to go backwards. Khalil Shakir right here. That guy and his long touchdown run, I mean, he might have an outside chance of getting to be a 1,000-yard receiver this year. He's already surpassed what he's done in past seasons. He's just having a fantastic year. I do not like that Ray Davis didn't get one rush. There he is. One rush during the game. Didn't touch the ball. I mean, Ray Davis is a good dynamic running back. We need to get him the ball. They got away from the running game. It wasn't working, but you've got to try to stick with it as much as you can. You can't just rely on Josh Allen, although he was being productive. So why did we lose? Okay, we'll go back to special teams first. The Rams did block a punt. Reed Ferguson got bowled over up the middle, and they blocked Sam Martin's punt and ran it in for a touchdown. I wonder if the coach has anything to do with that. Okay, so I'm not happy with our special teams, but the reason we lost this game is our defense. Excuse me. You can't give up that many points. You can't on defense. I mean, no pass rush. They didn't get 1 sack, but not only that, they only got 3 pressures. 3 times that they touch Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is a veteran quarterback. You have to get pressure on him. The back end, the DBs, I thought actually played really well. They were in coverage. They, in zone, the Rams were really good at hitting the holes in the zone. So that's a coaching thing. We've got to figure out if we can play any man coverage at all, because if the Rams are that good at finding the zone holes, then you got to mix it up. It's just not working. So try something else. But Von Miller, Greg Rousseau, AJ Epinesa, Ed Oliver. You guys got to get in there. You got to get the pressure on the quarterback. AJ's got to get lower, too, on when he takes off. He's not getting the explosion, because when he has a good game, he is going as low as possible, before the snap, and exploding out to beat the tackle. He's not doing that this year. He's not as low. Matthew Stafford is not going to run with the ball. He's older. He's not known to be a running quarterback. He's a pocket passer. So we shouldn't be trying to contain as much as we do with Mahomes or Lamar Jackson. And we need to put the pressure on. No pressure? You're going to sit back there. And props to Cooper Kupp and Uka Nakua. Those guys made amazing catches. I mean, Cooper Kupp makes a catch in the end zone that our DB knocks away from him, and he just brings it down and catches it with his knee. Unbelievable. And Puka catches a ball on the sidelines that was way out of bounds, but he leans over and keeps his toes in and catches it. Just amazing catches. Props to those guys. Props to the Rams. They won the game. I think Josh Allen did. Josh Allen. No, here. Now he's somewhere. Wait, there he is. Josh Allen, he secured his MVP. I mean, he would have to play so awful in the last 4 weeks. And it proves that the Bills need to play in a dome too, because how well did Josh Allen look in a dome? we'll see it again this week as they take on the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions are the team I think is going to play in the Super Bowl. But I wouldn't upset if the Rams did either, because the Rams had a lot of injuries at the start of the season. Nacua was hurt. And their offensive line had some injuries. So they weren't the same team that they are now. They're back healthy and they're playing well. So the Rams could be a contender over there. Obviously, the Vikings are a contender, and the Eagles, and then the Lions for the NFC side of the bracket. The AFC, I like to think the Bills are a good team. I like to think that Baltimore, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, maybe. I hope Denver makes the playoffs. And it's been a while since I've really seen them have a playoff contending team. Yes, Josh Allen is the MVP. Yes, he should definitely be. And the Lions are on fire. They're playing really good. And don't forget, you're right, don't forget about the Packers. The Packers are a good team too. Thank you for that, Butterfinger. So you know what? We only look back at old games or former games to try to look forward, to try to be better. They're not going to fire Coach Smiley in the middle of the season or this close to the end of the season. So he still gets his chances to show that he can do better on special teams. Let's do better on special teams. If it means that much to you, burn the candle at both ends. Make sure we're ready this time. The defensive line. People watch my videos know I love Coach Washington. Coach Washington, our defensive line coach, because he hustles so much in practice and plays so well, or practices so well. He's sweating before the first real snap of the practice, just during warm-ups. He is working them. It's his first year as a defensive line coach. He's been an assistant before, but this is his first year in the NFL as the head guy at the defensive line. I have faith and I believe in Coach Washington. So I know he is going to find ways to get some more pressure this week as we take on Detroit. Detroit has a couple of great running backs. They have great wide receivers. They have good defense. I'll go over that in another video. But we definitely have a chore ahead of us, because I think Detroit's the best team right now. So get the defensive line fixed. Don't get away from the run, and fix our special teams. Those are the biggest things to do this year. Hey, West East Bay. Excuse me. Yeah, we've got to get those things fixed. It was a close game. And sometimes you're going to come out with the L in a close game. So I appreciate everybody listening to my rant there on how upset I am about how the game ended. I think the Bills can still fix it. They've got a week, though, to show that they can fix it, because the Detroit Lions, again, are a good team. And then we finish up against the Patriots twice and the Jets. So I was hoping we could make those like preseason games. I do think the number 1 seed is gone. We're not going to catch the Chiefs. They have only 1 loss. We now have 3. And I just want to keep the 2 seed, because Pittsburgh actually has the same record as us, but we have the tiebreaker of scoring more points compared to giving up less, whatever. It's a tiebreaker, and we won it. So they'll get the 2 seed over Pittsburgh. But if we drop a game and Pittsburgh doesn't, now Pittsburgh's heading into Philadelphia this week. So there's a good possibility both teams may drop a game. I hope the Bills never play in the UK again, Ryan, because we left that game on a turf field that was no padding under it, with 3 of our star players injured, 2 of them for the rest of the season. So we hope we never go over there again. I'm sure it'll be a while, because every team has to go before another team goes twice, except Jacksonville, who goes every year and plays twice. Anyway, so the Bills, if the Bills do get the 2 seed, right now they would be facing the Denver Broncos. I know I don't like looking ahead, but the playoff scenarios are interesting things to talk about. They would play the Denver Broncos and hopefully win, then Baltimore and who's Baltimore playing? Well, anyway, we would end up with Pittsburgh. So in that case, and then it'd be Buffalo versus Pittsburgh to see who goes to the AFC Championship game if they did get past Denver. I never look past any team in the playoffs. They're all good teams once you get to the playoffs. But yeah, I don't really want to face that Baltimore team if we don't have to right away. So the draw could be good if it stays the way it is. But there's several teams down there. The Texans are the team playing Baltimore. Baltimore, the Texans are really close to us too. They could come up and try to snatch the 2 seed too if things get bad here. But we'll see what happens. We'll see. Only time will tell. So I am in a fantasy league with West East Bay. West, have I made it to the playoffs or not? I don't know. If you could check on that for me, that'd be great. My team had a good week last week because I do have Josh Allen. He had like 56 points by himself. So with that, hopefully the Bills will come back this week, play even a better game in Detroit's dome, as we'll see Josh Allen probably go off again in the dome. And the defense comes as well. So yeah, hopefully I made the playoffs. I think I made it in the last seat. So on that big day by Josh Allen. Anyway, with that, go Bills. And always remember, God loves you. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with this camera. God loves you. God loves you. And so do I.